Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Games, Tech, and Geekdom. I'm Ryan. About 2 years ago, I made a video about Microsoft's new file recovery utility. Well, it's functional, but ultimately very disappointing. Well, recently I received a comment from a user named Dell Anderson. Dell did a wonderful job of expanding on the details of what I shared in that video. Dell's comment made me think of another feature that has been invisible to users for 20 years. One of the best ways to get your data back is actually have Windows protect you from losing that data to begin with. And no, I'm not talking about backup, though that is critically important, and I should probably make a video on that at some point in the future. Instead, I'm talking about a feature that was first introduced in Windows Server 2003. So, at the time of recording, 19 years ago. And it took a few years, but Microsoft eventually actually put the feature into Windows 7. That feature is called Volume Shadow Copy. Volume Shadow Copy makes a background copy of your data for later retrieval. This is fantastic if you were to accidentally delete a file or accidentally overwrite a file. This is a really wonderful feature. And for some reason, it's not that easy to find. Well, to be clear, it's super easy on Windows servers. You click a couple buttons and it's set up and running. But for some reason, on a home user computer or even a end user desktop in a business environment, it's really annoying to set up. But the good news is it's a one-time setup. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to get it set up, it's going to be running, and hopefully you'll be protecting your data from accidental overwrites, accidental deletion. It's not going to help you for failed hard drives. It's not going to help you for true backup. But it's a great step in between. So let's jump into this. Okay, one key thing I want to mention before we move forward, you do need to have admin rights on your computer to go through this setup. It is because you are going to be making system level changes that you actually need those rights. But if you have it, you're going to be able to move forward without a problem. So the first thing we want to do is let's go ahead and open up this PC. And right click on this PC and go to Properties. Now, there's another way to get here that I personally really like. If you have a pause key on your keyboard, so you have a full-size keyboard, hit Windows and pause. It takes you directly here. So very, very nice. From the System Properties window here, go ahead and click on System Protection. That's going to open up the old, completely functional and no reason to get rid of it, System Properties window. And from right here, you're going to see Protection Settings. By default, this is turned off. Now, if this is turned on for you, fantastic. Let's go ahead and have you just stick with us for a minute while we catch up. So, from here, click Configure and turn on System Protection. Now we're caught up to people who already have it on. The next thing we want to do is adjust the percentage of hard disk space or SSD space, depending on what you have in your system, that's available to be used for restoration. This is going to be a combination of system restore points and your volume shadow copy data. So I do recommend somewhere between 5 and 10% of your storage space. This is totally up to you though. Once you set this slider right about where you want it, go ahead and hit OK. Then hit OK again. Okay, up to this point, we've prepped the system. So I'm going to go ahead and close this as I don't need this anymore. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come up to the Start menu again, and I'm going to type Task to get to the Task Scheduler. Let's go ahead and make our task. What I'm going to do is I'm going to right-click on the Task Scheduler library, and I'm going to create a task. The first thing it wants is a name. And I like to use something a little bit descriptive. So I'm going to go ahead and say shadow copy. Next, here in the description, this is a personal preference item. I personally like to put a description in of what the scheduled task is doing and who created it, because as you see other things kind of in the background here, there's a lot of things that get created by various applications on your system, and it's good to know what they are and where they came from. So in the description, I'm just going to put something in. So I'm just going to skip past this part for you guys. Next, I'm going to select my security options. Now, I personally like to run this at whether the user is logged on or not. And the reason is, if the computer's turned on, I want the service to run. I also like it to run with highest privileges, because if something is limited access, I do want it to go ahead and collect that information as well. That way I don't lose that. The next thing we need to do is go ahead and set triggers. When is this going to happen? So I'm going to go ahead and hit New. And I'm going to say I want this to run every day, and I'm going to give it a time to run. So I want this to run every day. For me, I want that to be, let's say, 10 a.m. And I'm going to hit OK now. Now, personally, I like to run this more than once a day, so I'm actually going to run it 3 times a day. So I'm going to hit New again. I'm just going to repeat this whole process 3 times here. Next, go ahead and go over to the Actions tab. Then click New. Now, the action section here, this is important. It should say start a program. Verify that that's actually listed, and that is the default, but accidents do happen. We really want to make sure it starts a program. Next, what you put into these next 2 sections, specifically it's going to be program/script section and the argument section. I'm going to have the exact information for these in the description of this video, but I'm going to type it in here just so you see it. WMIC is the program we're running. You don't need to type anything else. That is a core program of Windows, and so it picks that up just by that command. Next, we're putting in the arguments. So it is shadow copy, call, create, volume equals C :/backslash. Now, specifically, there are no spaces between the words volume, the equal sign, and the C: and backslash. If you want to do this on other drive letters, say your D, E, whatever other drives you have, you would go through this exact same process for the actions here and change this to C, to D, to E, whatever other drives you have, and it'll work just fine. Now, I'm going to click OK, and it's going to challenge me for my password. So we're going to just jump past that real quick. And, well, there it is. That's it. It's ready to go. Now I've got my computer set up to run 3 times a day on the C drive to go ahead and get those backup copies. Because I don't want this video to get really long, I don't want to go in too deep on a lot of the things, I'm going to go ahead and break the video at this point, and next week I'll have a video of how you restore that data if you were to accidentally overwrite it. Until then, thanks for joining me on Games, Tech, and Geekdom. Have a great day.